Good evening, everyone. The informed consent that I'm going to be basing my video off of is from Olive Branch Counseling and Training based out of Texas. And I'm going to be referring it to the APA Code of Ethics 2015 and the Florida Statutes, Laws, Regulations, and Rules 2019. The informed consent did go pretty well side by side with the APA Code of Ethics. There were a few things, though, that kind of brought up some questions to me, and maybe it was in there within it, and it was just in some wording that I wasn't sure of. But something that was brought up within the Florida statutes for their Code of Ethics for the informed consent was the appropriate length of treatment and how the treatment will be monitored. I do know as a counselor, it's our responsibility to both verbally and in written go over informed consent with the client. And to me, maybe talking about the length of the treatment and how it is monitored, maybe that is something that needs to be done in a face-to-face conversation. But the question that I have is, does it also need to be in the writing? Are there some rules where, they're okay to discuss verbally and not written, or does it need to be both written and verbal? So that's kind of a big question that I came up with a lot of these. They also didn't really discuss the role of technology. They did discuss how their records were kept electronically, but that was really it. They didn't talk about much other use of technology within the practice. And they also didn't discuss the proper steps to ensure that the client's understanding of the implications of diagnosis and intended use of tests and reports. So that, again, was another thing that to me didn't really go hand in hand with the APA Code of Ethics or the Florida state statutes and rules and stuff on the Code of Ethics that need to be followed in the state of Florida. They did do a lot that did butt up and do pretty well. They did go over the purpose and goals, techniques, procedures, and limitations. One thing that I really liked in the beginning in their purpose, they did talk about why they like the wellness model over the medical model. And that we like to give our clients the tools that they need to help them work independently and to focus on what is going right in their life. So that was something that I really liked. I feel like it kind of started that relationship off on a positive note by the client knowing that that's what they're focusing on. They did go over the qualifications and credentials of the counselors and their licensure that they do hold. They did also go over the billing aspects. So they had a pretty big portion on bills and fees, and they went into great detail pertaining to private pay and insurance and the difference. So, if a person is coming in for counseling, that if they are wanting to go through their insurance, then it is their responsibility to contact their insurance company and figure out the number of sessions that are allowed for them. And then also to figure out co-pays. And then if they are private pay, that if they do not pay that fee, that they would then give them a courtesy and let them know that, either a card was declined or the payment was not accepted, and that no further appointments can then be made until that payment is approved. They did go over confidentiality, and I really did like the section that they went over, particularly on minors. I guess within the state of Texas, they like to have both parents within that process of a minor. And only kind of outstanding thing is if one parent has exclusive rights over a child, then they will include just that parent, but they do prefer to have both parents in that process. They also did bring up if a child does turn 18 within that counseling process, they fill out a form, they sign, and then the parent then is not allowed to be informed of anything happening within the counseling room unless the client has given the okay that can then be given. They have given that consent. They did also talk about patients having access to the records. So I also think that's kind of important to always point out as well, that they do have the right to their records in their treatment plan, and making sure you're keeping your patient involved within their treatment plan as well. So overall, I do think that this fit really well with APA and Florida. There were a few differences, but overall I think that they went together hand in hand. It was a very well put together informed consent. I hope you guys have a great night.